Hey guys, it's the Texan talking here, back with another pregame show. This week we got the Texans versus the Chargers, and we're here. We're joined here by Rob from, I believe, is the from Let's Talk Sports, and we are here. He's a big Chargers fan. We were sharing stories a little bit right before we started, and so now we got so Rio's with me here, so who y'all know he's my co-host here in the Texan Talking podcast, and we are going to be discussing Chargers Texans. So we got some predictions coming up, and of course, first let's introduce Rob. Rob, tell our podcast listeners a little bit about yourself, bud.
Hi, hey, thanks for having me on. It's a pleasure. I always like talking sports and obviously talking Chargers. I've been a Charger fan for over 40 years. I pretty much have gone through so many different cycles of supposedly good Charger teams, only to, for some reason, have something go wrong. Whether people call it a curse or whatever you want to call it, there's definitely a lot of heartache being a Charger fan, but I have endured since I was probably 5 years old. So I've watched the Fouts lose. I've watched the LaDainian Tomlinson lose, the Rivers lose. And hopefully we were supposed to have things turn around this year, but we've had some unfortunate injuries that have really decimated the team already, the first 3 games of the season. So hopefully things are starting to get back to some normalcy with the team. So we'll see what happens today.
Yeah, I've noticed that y'all were that you guys were had a few people out. I know y'all have Bosa out for like the rest of the season, correct? And that's a to me now. Correct me if I'm wrong here. To me, that's a big loss because that's your guy, that's your pass rusher right there. So seeing him out, I know that's definitely going to put a little bit of it's going to put a little bit of strain on y'all's defense, obviously. And then you also have a corner out. Is that correct? One of your top corner?
Actually, I believe he is playing today. JC
Okay.
Jackson
Is he?
should
Oh, okay.
be back.
He was out.
I that's what I thought. He practiced
Yeah.
this week. He was listed as questionable on Friday and Saturday, so I believe he is going to be playing today.
Oh, nice. That's a
Okay.
huge.
There you
big
go.
you guys.
Yeah,
Well,
that's a big.
You're going to need
No,
him.
but
You're going to need him to be on that side because, like you guys say, with Bosa being out, the pass rush is definitely going to take a hit. Khalil Mack
Right.
is on the other side, but other than playing with Bosa, he really hasn't shown, that individually he can go after the quarterback. So that should be interesting. Bosa, it does look like, keeping fingers crossed, they're not, completely ruling him out for the season. They are saying possibly 8 to 9 games he might miss, and then hopefully, if we're somewhat in the playoff hunt, I don't know if that's going to be the case, but if we are kind of there, maybe getting him back may be a nice little boost. But definitely not having Bosa is definitely a big change on the defense because they were getting a lot. If you watched that Raider game in the beginning of the year, they got a lot of pressure on Derek Carr, and I think that was really the reason why they won that game was because a lot of people know when you get Derek Carr under pressure, he seems to have happy feet. So that was definitely a big strong point for them going into the season. So now they're gonna kind of going to be really only rushing from that one side with Mac, and we're going to see how that goes.
So I agree. I agree with what you said about Mac not being really able to get to the guy on his own. I haven't seen. Yeah, so I used to be a Raiders fan. I used to tell people that I used to be a Raiders because I used to live in Northern California years ago. Then the Raiders ended up getting Mac, obviously, way after I was a Texan fan. But I saw a few like highlights from Khalil Mack when he was in how do you call it when he was in college. So um, I got to see his play style, so I was like, okay, cool. The Raiders got somebody that's going to be a good pass rusher, and then obviously he didn't last too long there with the Raiders. He got traded over there to Chicago. when he came to when I saw him in Chicago, he had a few plays, but then you started seeing a little bit of a decline because I believe that's the same year when he got drafted to the NFL when the Texans got Jadeveon Clowney,
Exactly.
and so it was like, oh, some people wanted Mac over Clowney here, whatever. Rios was one of them, and obviously you started seeing the decline, kind of almost around the same time. Obviously, I still think Mac is a better pass rusher than Clowney is, in my own personal opinion. However, I started seeing a decline in Mac. I think when like his last year in Chicago. How did you feel when you guys got him with San Diego this year? I mean, excuse me, I said San Diego, so I still think about San Diego Chargers. How do you feel when you guys got him with the Chargers this year?
Well, we all think of him as San Diego, just so you know that. I
Right.
still call them the San Diego Chargers, but
Yeah.
I thought it was a really good pickup for the Chargers this year because if you pair Mac with Bosa,
Yeah.
it's actually a home run because on the offensive line you got to really concentrate on Bosa. So I believe that would free up Mac to have more of a one-on-one going against him and not really getting double teamed. So I thought that was going to be good for his career to kind of maybe kind of jump started again because he was not going to be the focal person on that line.
Right.
You were going to have, obviously most people are going to concentrate on Bosa. So I thought that was going to be a great fit. Now that, Bosa is not there, I guess we're going to see whether or not he still really does have, something left in the tank because like you said, up into, coming and actually up into that first game against the Raiders when he had 3 sacks, he really hasn't really played like the old Khalil Mack. He's definitely, to me, lost a little bit of a step. But hopefully, pairing him with Bosa was supposed to be the kind of the cure for that. So we're going to need to have some kind of pressure on the quarterback from somewhere. I don't know if Van Noy is going to be able to do it on the other side because that's who's going to be starting on the other side of him. I just don't know. And I've always said it in the past, any quarterback in the NFL, I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's a third string or whoever it is. If they're in the pocket and they're comfortable in the pocket and they have time, they're not pressured and they have the time to read their progressions and everything, they're going to pick you apart. I don't care, what quarterback it is. You got to get pressure in this league to really help. And, hopefully they get that because last game, Trevor Lawrence just sat back there and just picked them apart. And, Trevor Lawrence up until this year was kind of, the jury was still out on him. But now with Doug Peterson, I think that's a whole home run for them. But he was able to just sit back there, pick them apart. And you saw the outcome of that game last week.
Yeah, it was. I saw Trevor Lawrence. I agree with you on that. Trevor, you definitely need to put a little bit of you need to put pressure on that quarterback. Our quarterback has like what you said earlier, happy feet, like with Derek Carr. He does make he doesn't make the best decisions when he's under pressure. As we've seen in our games against the Denver Broncos and against the against the, how do you call it, teams that the Colts. Yeah, it's been in Chicago when at the last minute when you had the chance to win it, they threw and got intercepted to Rex Burkhead, even though we had other options available as we looked at the tape, the coach's tape on that.
Much better options.
Yeah, much better options. So, but it's because he was getting pressured. So I think if you guys, and going back to Khalil Mack, if Khalil Mack and Van Noy can actually get Davis Mills some pressure, I think you guys are going to be rattle them up a little bit. And then you said you have your starting cornerback again. I think you guys are going to be fine defensively. We have one of our shining stars that we have on offense is our running back, Damian Pierce. So I'm looking at how many rush yards the Chargers have allowed, and I'm looking at this season so far. You're like at 102.7. That's how many yards the Chargers have allowed this season. With that being said, even though Damian Pierce is our little bright star in the offense as far as running backs go, as long as y'all can shut him down too and make Davis Mills throw the ball and pressure him, you guys are set. We feel like it's going to be an ugly loss for us. Just because we're being realistic about it. We know our team. we know we've seen a pattern.
Herbert will broker is
Yeah.
still better than 80% of the quarterbacks in the league. So,
Well, on the offensive side, if you want to talk a little bit of Chargers offense, the big question marks on that is, number one, their line. They've gotten really decimated with injuries on the line as well. Our starting left tackle is gone for the season. All pro tackle gone.
Mm-hmm.
You have Chris Lindsley, who is supposed to be coming back today as our center. He's another all pro. Hopefully he's back to 100%. And you're going to be starting a rookie who's never played an NFL snap on the right side.
Ouch.
And that's a little bit of that concerns me, especially the fact that the Chargers really have no running game whatsoever. So Herbert dropping back 40, 50 times with a line that's not that experienced and might be a little bit shaky. That's a little bit of a concern. Now, obviously, Herbert is one of the better quarterbacks in the league. And,
right.
Yes, most of the time he's going to figure out a way to, get the pass out, whether it be, quick pass or use his feet to kind of roll out. But, 40 or 50 times dropping back, that's a little scary for Charger fans. And, to me, I'd be more worried about the offensive line protecting Herbert than anything today in today's game.
Understandable. We had surprisingly, our offensive line last game against Chicago held in the pocket better than it had throughout the season. We had we were pretty good with the offensive line on our end. Now, as far as like you said, your offensive line, you have a rookie starting at right. Is that correct? And then you have a few injuries. And as far as our our rushing is concerned, I think we have who is it? We have we have some people that can get through it. Humphreys, right? Rios.
no, Jerry Hughes on our side. So he's
Hughes, I'm sorry, yeah. Hughes, Jerry Hughes.
having a career resurgence. He's 34. I think I want to say he's like either tied for first or like second in sacks. He has like 4.
He's got 4 sacks this season. He's got 4 sacks this season. That's right. And we have we have Petrie, one of our safety. He right now he's a 2 interceptions. He intercepted Justin Fields twice last week, so he's one of the guys to look out for, obviously. But obviously, yeah,
rushing the passer as well, which is
he's also
a safety. That's really,
yeah,
very, very impressive.
Yeah, so those are I guess some areas to look at if you're looking if you're talking about the offensive line being a problem for San Diego. Just Hughes and Petrie. Sorry, those are my dogs barking. I apologize, but nonetheless, I think it's going to be Rios. What are you predicting? Let's predict. Let's do a little bit of prediction. What do you think?
So on the flip side, the Texans they just can't stop the run. They're allowing over 200 yards rushing. I mean, it's hard to win in the NFL if you're allowing anyone to get 200 yards rushing because you control the clock at that point. I think Eckler, he has a bounce back game. I think he's going to get at least 150 yards rushing against this defense because they just can't stop the run. I think they're going to try to protect Herbert, not have him drop back 50 times. I think maybe he throws about 25 passes, and they're going to rely on the running back on the running game because again, defense can't stop the run. As the backup for the Bears at 160 yards rushing, so they're going to try.
Yeah.
If they really want to, protect Herbert, just pound the ball, just pound it, and they can't stop the run. And just protect the quarterback, have him make the throws he needs to make, but for the most part, rely on the running backs. And I think it's going to be so the over under is 45. I don't see it getting that high. I see Chargers 21, Texans like 9.
That's a good prediction. I like that. Yeah, basically we kind of feel like uh Austin Eckler's going to have a game of his life against our run defense. I think he's going to
Herbert.
I think, and his backup. So I think that's one of the biggest weaknesses on defense is our running defense. They're pretty bad. This season alone, our defense has allowed 202 yards rushing. So that kind of tells you a little bit of, and you got to understand that the teams that we faced haven't really been too running back heavy. And again, this is with an injured Montgomery from Chicago.
Yeah.
So, that's how many we've allowed 202 yards rushing in three games. So that's why
passing yards almost equal, honestly. Like passing yards are allowing about 225 to 202 rushing. Like they can stop the passes, just when they run the ball. And mind you, they're not going against Walter Payton or Barry Sanders. So you got Khalil Herbert running for 160 yards on you. Like,
yeah. So what are you expecting from this game, Rob? Like, what are you expecting to see, or any players you'd like to highlight or anything like that?
Well, to me, I mean, if the running game gets back to at least something, I mean, I think they're averaging like 35 yards a game. I mean, they're horrible at running the ball. So if they do get back to a running game, like you guys said, that will definitely protect Herbert a lot. I don't know why they didn't do that more in their last game against the Jags, and especially in the beginning of the game. They just come out throwing and they got behind, and then obviously once you get behind, you have to throw the ball to try to catch up. So yeah, if they can control the ball with the run, that would be the best thing going for the Chargers. Keenan Allen's not playing today, so the number one receiver will be Mike Williams, which he can do that. So I like him. I also like Josh Palmer on the other side. He's a very good 3 receiver or third receiver, slot receiver, whatever you want to call it. So those guys are definitely going to get their yardage. But if Eckler or Josh Kelly, he's another good running back for them. If they can get yards running, that will make Charger fans so much more happier than what we've seen so far in the first 3 games. So yeah, I mean, run the ball and control the clock. That would be the best way to win this game.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. Honestly, that's very true. What you're saying is as long as you guys run the clock, because again, our running defense is not good at all. I think, what do we rank? We was 28th in the run, or what?
We're last right now.
Oh, we're last now. Okay, sorry. We
last game
ended up downgrading. Yeah,
I think
so
we
we're
can
last in run
at
defense.
this point.
Yeah, at this point you can just walk across at this point. Yeah, no, it's it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. But nonetheless, all right, right before we're gonna start going now, because game's in about 30 minutes. So Rios, what did you say your score was again? I'm sorry, your prediction.
Chargers 21, Texans 9.
Chargers 21, Texans 9. I like that. I think we go. I'm going to make a rough prediction. I think the Texans score 2 touchdowns, and I'm being optimistic here. 2 touchdowns.
Look at you.
Yeah, I know, right? And I think it's going to be 21-14. My prediction: 21-14. Chargers win. What about you, Rob? What do you think?
Well, if you look at the line for this game from a betting standpoint, it started out right around, the Chargers were giving like 4.5, 5. It is now, I believe, this morning, it's gone up to 6. So a lot of money is going towards the Charger side of things to obviously raise that point spread up. I think, like you guys said, if the Chargers commit to the run and use the running game to even set up their passes, I think that's definitely the way to go. I think their defense, like you said, the Chargers defense having Jackson back, I think that's enough to kind of help, keep the Texans at bay. And I definitely think the Chargers will cover. And I'm thinking more along the lines of like 31-10.
31-10. Okay. Well,
Yeah,
that sounds about right.
Yeah, the over under this morning was like 45. So
45. Yeah. So no, that makes a lot of sense. I kept it on my score. I kept it a little closer just because, like you said, you have some things going on with the O-line and things like that. So I don't think some of our points might be offensive points. They might just be a defense. You know what I mean? Like maybe cost by the defense or whatnot. Like a pick six. That's what I'm thinking. I'm just.
Well,
I got Herbert on my fantasy team, so if he can throw, if he can throw touchdown passes, I'll take it.
Yeah, I got Herbert on my fantasy team too. But I'm going to tell you, like the Charger fans are actually very thankful that they're starting this rookie tackle. He's from Georgia.
Okay.
He's from Georgia. He was a 6th round pick out of Georgia, but he was on that national championship team, and he blocked the blind side for the Bulldogs there. I'm happy because I'm going to tell you, if Storm Norton is in the game at tackle, this game is a completely different game. That guy is the worst tackle ever. I don't know how he's still on the Chargers roster.
We've had plenty of those in our lifetime with the Texans.
We've had plenty of those. Yeah.
They blocked us on Twitter.
He played half the game last week, and I think he had 8 pressures against the quarterback, which is like completely unheard of. Like most linemen maybe get like 8 pressures in like 3 or 4 games, but he had 8.5. So Charger fans are like jumping up and down that they're starting this rookie. And hopefully he'll do better than Storm Norton, which, I mean, if you just stand up, I think they can do better than Storm Norton. So we're happy.
Was he just letting him walk? Was he just letting him walk by? Like, oh, here's a quarterback. Go get it.
I guess maybe he was trying to tell him a story or something. I don't know what he was trying to do, but it wasn't working last week.
That's awful.
We're actually quite excited. Yeah, we're quite excited.
8.5 in a game. Wow. Yep. 8.5. That is ridiculous. It's unheard of.
Those are Jeff Allen numbers.
This is Jeff Allen. Jeff Allen. Yeah. We had a offensive lineman who he played for the Texans. What was it? A few years ago?
Yeah, like 2 years.
2 years ago, about the same. And I think we were talking. Rios and I always used in our old accounts. We used to talk so much mess on Twitter. Well, he still has his account. I just when I started this one, whatever, I took off my other one because I was like, it's no longer relevant, right? So I made a joke about that particular lineman, and I guess he read it. I obviously don't expect these guys to read your stuff. You just kind of put it on there, and he read it. And he made a comment, not towards me, but he made a comment, and I commented back on his post, and I don't even remember what it was, but I commented back on his post.
You said that was his best block of the season.
He ended up blocking me, and I was like, "Oh, look, that's his best block of the season." And so,
nice.
And that's what we went through. But so yeah, we totally understand. We've had really terrible O-lines in our day. I mean, as far as you can remember, the very beginning of the Texans, David Carr was sacked for a total of 69 times in the season, or 7, or
it was higher than that. It was way higher
than 60. Yeah, he had he still holds the record, I think, for the most quarterbacks sacked in a regular season. They literally traumatized this guy from becoming a better quarterback.
He's still that way.
It's bad. Yeah. But he does have a Super Bowl ring sitting behind Eli Manning, so we can't really get him on that.
Yeah, well, all right, man. Like he mentioned earlier, you get to the quarterback, that's how you can, that's how you win. Like that's how the Giants beat the Patriots, the 16-0 Patriots. They got to Tom Brady.
Yeah. No, I agree. So I think that's what's going to happen this game. If you guys, like I said, if Khalil Mack shows up again and becomes like the old Khalil Mack, and he starts pressuring Davis Mills for sure. If y'all stop the run, that's honestly, that's key to success right there. Not that, of course,
it's the key to
was
success.
that?
Make
It
Davis
is the key to
throw the
success.
ball.
Makes Davis
can't
go throw the
play.
ball. Like that's the thing. So if we make a quarterback throw the ball, what did you say, more than 15 times in a game, right, Rios? That's when he
as long as
starts.
we're gonna lose.
Yeah. And so, like I said, we're not optimistic. We're not too optimistic. We're realistic fans. We know what
We're
we
looking
got. We know
forward
the
to the
product we
draft
got.
next year and get a real
Yeah,
quarterback.
we're getting through the draft. Get a quarterback. Anyway, long story short, yeah, I'm sure the Chargers can do that. All those things, and then obviously having your corner again, that definitely helps the defense out for you guys. So honestly, like I said, I do see this game getting a little closer just for that reason. Like I said, so hopefully we can make it somewhat competitive and not one of those games that has been like really like think like the last 2 weeks, like the Tampa Bay and Green Bay game were kind of boring. Very low scoring. Yeah, exactly. So nonetheless, again, I want to see a good game. Like I just want to see a good game. I want to see, again, I honestly do want to see Herbert ball out because I just
Me
like
too.
seeing Herbert play.
For
Herbert is great.
money purposes.
And yeah, and then obviously we have Pep Hamilton here, which is he's the guy that got Herbert going for a while, right? When he was back with the Chargers. So that's gonna be fun to see. So I think this will be fun. I'm expecting a good game, like I said. So all right. Rob, thanks again for coming and joining us on this pregame show. Please come back anytime. I have your email, so I'll hit you up if you want to talk. Come and join us again, okay?
Yep. Thanks, guys, for having me. It's been fun. Thank you.
All right, appreciate you, man. All right, guys,
All right,
this will be it. All right, we'll see y'all Wednesday. We'll see y'all. Bye. Peace.